Chapter 4. Gangs. I arrived at Gompers in the summer of 1977, hoping to make up the grade I lost for failing attendance at O'Farrell. My first cousin was enrolled for summer school there as well, but not because he had to like me. He and I were close. Previously, we were students in a class on the UCSD campus taking Tiger Form Martial Arts in a summer program for youth. Our instructor was a young black man named Merritt. My cousin and I were obsessed with the arts, and after class, we would go to his house and continue sparring. We constructed homemade martial arts weapons out of wood and scrap metal. We considered ourselves to be upcoming ninjas, attempting to master every new move we saw in Bruce Lee films or black belt theater. My cousin was one of the best in our group, and a lot of my strength came from him. He had confidence, so I didn't like to lose or back down in front of him. My cousin was known at Gompers because he had been in elementary school with most of the locals in that area. They had all attended Kennedy Elementary School together. During summer school at Gompers, my cousin introduced me to some guys that I hadn't seen at school. These guys hung out at the top of the steps on Goyman Street and checked out the students who walked down Escuela Street after school. Escuela was a major thoroughfare for students going home from school. It ran downwards, and once you reached the bottom, you would be on Goyman, which ran across. The guys that hung out down there did not dress like the students at Gompers did. We all wore tennis shoes and t-shirts, and these guys wore heavier clothing, hard shoes, plaid button-down shirts, and even coats. I recall them wearing matching khaki pants and shirts in dark green or tan color. They also wore lots of accessories with their clothing, such as earrings, gloves, sunglasses, and many types of hats. One thing I always noticed was that each of them would have a blue bandana somewhere attached to them in full view, mostly hanging out of their back pocket, but also tied around their heads, necks, or draped over their shoulders. They called themselves blue rags. Their style of dress appeared to be uncomfortable to me and somewhat intimidating. My cousin told me that he knew all of them, and they were all members of a gang called the Crips, the neighborhood Crips. I heard of a gang called the Crips, but not the neighborhood Crips. When I was a kid, my mom went to church on 28th and Imperial Avenue. After services, I remember seeing graffiti outside reading West Coast Mafia Crips 1974. It was written in felt pen on the front of my church. My mom saw me reading it and told me that the Crips were a bunch of disobedient teenagers who were all going to hell for writing on the church. Every day as my cousin and I walked home from school, he would always stop and chat with them at the top of the steps on Goyman. I would wait for him at the corner of Goyman on 47th or at Sally's Candy Store located in the plaza at the bottom of the steps. I told my cousin that they were all school dropouts, amongst other things. My cousin died laughing at all the derogatory remarks I made about them, but he always warned me with a smile. You better not ever let them hear you say that. Finally, one day, my cousin got fed up with my Crip bashing and decided to call my bluff. As I waited for him at the corner of 47th and Goyman, he beckoned me over to the group of Crip friends at the top of the steps. He had a smile on his face, as did the rest of the Crips, curiously watching me approach. Hey, you guys, this is my cousin Curtis. Turning to me, he said, Curtis, these are my homeboys, Trey Dog, Salt Rock, Woodlock, Bake Nut, Cookie Crumble, and LA Buck, pronounced LaBuck. I also noticed a guy that I knew from Encanto Elementary. He told my cousin that he had already knew me from school, so he skipped our introduction. Well, Kurt, my cousin asked, smiling, do you think you can whoop any of these guys? Surprised that my cousin had put me on the spot, I casually responded, yep. The Crips began to raise eyebrows as they curiously closed in on me. Well, which one of us do you think you can whip? Asked Bake Nut. Do you think you could whoop me? He curiously asked, tilting his head to the side as he awaited my response. Maybe, I replied, as I looked at my cousin proudly refusing to back down. What about me? Salt Rock anxiously asked. Maybe so, you never know, I concluded. At this point, Trey Dogg approached me. He wore a blue bandana tied around his head with the black Godfather hat over it. Trey Dogg was a short, muscular guy with pudgy cheeks and dimples. He had a golden brown complexion and his eyes sparkled when he smiled. Trey Dogg wasn't intimidating to me at first, but the silence that overcame the group when he spoke let me know that there was more to him than just looks. Everyone seemed to be intensely interested in what my reply would be after he challenged me. Do you think you could whoop me? Trey Dogg curiously asked with a smile. After a long, intense silence, I looked Trey Dogg over before finally responding, yeah. Suddenly, the group of Crips exploded into a frenzy. Some of them approached me while putting on leather work gloves with the little silver aluminum bells hanging with them. I thought that I was going to be jumped, but I wasn't afraid because I knew that my cousin would fight with me. "Cuz this fool is crazy," Trey Dogg noted in disbelief. "Hey, hold up a minute, you guys," my cousin shouted. "That's my cousin. Back up. Wait a minute." "Fuck that shit, homie," Salt Rock argued. "Your cousin gotta fight everybody now." "Man, you will get fucked up," Lil Buck said. "You can't whoop none of us," he assured me. "This is the East Side Neighborhood ROLLlN 4Os CRlP gang," Cookie Crumble informed me while holding up 4 fingers. "That's your cousin," Salt Rock argued. "You're responsible for him disrespecting us. You shouldn't have let him talk all that shit, saying that he could whoop us." "He only said that he could whoop Trey Dogg," my cousin protested. "To the rest of you guys, he said maybe." "Yeah, he's right," Trey Dogg agreed. "He actually only said, yeah, about whooping me, so he will fight me one-on-one, and you will fight Cookie Crumble for starting all this shit," Trey Dogg told my cousin. "Okay, everybody, let's take it to Gompers Park," Trey Dogg announced. "Somebody stop by Big A's pad and see if him and Bugs want to come watch." Suddenly, I found myself walking towards Gompers Park with the Crips. All of them were really pumped up over this event. We stopped in an alley off the corner of 49th Street and Salt Rock knocked on a garage door. As the garage pushed out to open, a skinny, tight-eyed guy came out smiling and looking as if he just awoken. He had his hair in braids and wore prescription sunglasses. He reminded me of a nerd. He didn't seem to meet the requirements of hanging out with the tougher bunch, but here he was. "Hey, Zinker," Salt Rock said. "We're on our way to Gompers Park so that EO and his crazy-ass cousin can fight Trey Dogg and Cookie Crumble. Just thought you might want to come and watch somebody get fucked up." "Oh yeah," said Zinker, rubbing his hands together with a devious smile as he sized me up. Finally, we arrived at the park with about 10 gang members, as a few had joined in on the way. "Okay, everybody," Salt Rock announced. "We're going to let Cookie Crumble go first since Trey Dogg and this crazy dude is the main event." My cousin then respectfully bowed to Cookie Crumble before breaking into a martial arts stand. And then to my surprise, Cookie Crumble broke out into a karate stance of his own, and the fighting began. Cookie Crumble had on a pair of Stacy Adam dress shoes, dark green khaki uniform, and a Godfather hat, which he stopped to hand over to Woodlock before continuing. The two of them sparred for 15 minutes straight, and the skills executed by him and by my cousin were extremely hard to follow. When their fight was finally over, everybody ran to hug and give them high fives. Ultimately, their performance was so good that it satisfied everyone's desire to see any further action. Trey Dogg turned to me amidst of the celebration and asked, "Do you still want to fight? Or you just want to wait until another time?" Relieved, I actually responded, "Yeah, man, we'll get down later," I said, trying not to sound shaken. Ironically, this first incident would be the beginning of my gang life filled with close calls and near-death experiences, with me always being saved at the very last minute by some crazy-ass diversion or sudden change of mind by the enemy. People out to get me have walked right past me. but on some occasions, I have scared people into not pursuing me. Most people won't come for it if they feel that there will be serious repercussions behind it. After the sparring match, we all walked back into the hood. The hood, I later learned, was the heart of their gang territory. It was short for neighborhood. Back then, if you said that you were from the hood, it meant that you were a member of the neighborhood Crip gang. Now the term is more widely used to describe low-income minority communities. We all went to Trey Dogg's house on Goyman Street. He lived in a duplex next door to a guy named Melvin and his sister Donna. For the rest of the day, I hung out with my cousin and the Crips. They acted as if I wasn't even there. While talking, they mentioned another gang called the West Coast Crips that they were out to settle scores with. They spoke of places like Abbey Road and 18 and Over Club, the Palisades Garden Skating Rink, Ocean View Park, and random house parties. These were the places where they often had run-ins. Set aside the violence, I was impressed by the Crips. I observed them for the entire day, and I saw that they had an extraordinary strong bond comparable to brotherly love. They didn't care if you were poor, uneducated, dressed well or not. They treated one another equally. This was the number one quality that won me over with the Crips. They didn't discriminate against anyone's socioeconomic status or flaws. I enjoyed the atmosphere while hanging out with the Crips so much that it became routine, and I eventually started hanging out with my cousin over there. We would hang out in Zinker's garage where the level of darkness depended on how far he cracked the door for natural sunlight. There were 2 raggedy couches that sat low to the ground, and the shelves were decorated with empty Night Train Express wine bottles. I often saw big orange cockroaches running around the bottles that the residue had attracted. I did this almost every day after summer school classes. As time went by, I began to meet more neighborhood Crips. Some of them were Crips such as Big Ant, Tie Stick, Red Dog, Sawed Off, Crazy JT, Mad Dog, Woodlock, Bake Nut, Papa Conrad, Mad Ray, Breakdown, Hitman, The Burtons, Lil Jon, D-Stone, Snag, T-Roll, Vamp, Pearl Earl, Kenny Ray, Monkey Jeff, Jamie 08, Insane, the Dumas brothers, the Andersons, the Ramseys, Bulldog and his brother Lil Bulldog, Ant Bone, LA, Womble, Everett, Zinker, Melvin, Lil Rock, Bugs Malone, the Spains, Lil Buck, Salt Rock, Bam, the Hill Brothers, Al Capone, Trey Dogg, EO, Twan, Cowboy, Blue, Squeak, and more. There were homegirls too, such as Sweet Thang, Wanda Faye, Noonie, Irma, Tony, Ding, Bridget, KK, Pat, Darlene, Kenya, Mimi, Ladies 40, Nisi, Juliet, and more. Asterisks, some homeboys and homegirls mentioned I did not meet until later, but most were already there when I arrived. Some were not gang involved, but some had strong family roots from living in the hood. Curious about the origins of their strange nicknames, I soon discovered that many of their true names were included in their nicknames. No matter how crazy the nickname sounded, it was always a connection to their real name, such as Ronald Cookie Crumble Cook, Bake Nut Baker, Darren Woodlock Whitlock, and Anthony Big Ant Johnson. Ironically, the craziest sounding nicknames seem to be more understandable as to how those names came about than the others, such as Eugene Breakdown Strong or Travis Hitman Beckham. No parts of their nickname are included in their true name, but instead were given to them based upon character. Hitman was always the first person to hit someone to start the fight. He specialized in taking the first punch. As a result of that, he was named Hitman. He was not hired to kill people, as the name may otherwise suggest. After understanding the origins of their nicknames, I then asked questions about the gang signs and terms I often overheard while hanging out with them. "Hey, Salt Rock," I asked, "what do those 4 fingers mean that you be holding up?" "It means that 4 of us is gonna kick your ass next time you talk shit to us," he replied, laughing. Dismissing his reply, I continued with my questioning. "And why do you guys always call each other cuz?" "Because we bout ready to fuck you up," Salt Rock blurted out as he doubled over laughing. Others smiled and laughed with him as well. Trey Dogg then took on the questions. The laughs faded as he began to speak. "The 4 fingers mean ROLLlN 4Os," Trey Dogg said. "Our territory is from 40th and Market Street to 49th and Market Street. Everything in the 40s block is what we control and travel through the most. ROLLlN. That's why we call it the ROLLlN 4Os. We just put both words together to make one. ROLLlN means to travel through. We call each other cuz, which is short for cousin, because we are like family," he said. "Why don't you just call each other brothers then?" I curiously asked. "We all have our own mothers," he explained. "Cousins are the next closest thing on the family tree without having the same mothers. That's why we call ourselves cousins. We spell it Cuzzins. Trey Dogg then began to volunteer more information about gangs that I had not asked. The Brims call themselves Bloods. They wear red, representing the color of blood. There were no Bloods in San Diego until just now. Some dude named Country came down here from LA and started the Brims after the Crips up there killed his younger brother. The Bloods down here are called the 5'9 Brims. Country named them after the Los Angeles gang that he was from. The 5'9 Brims down here were first called the Central City Gangsters. That's the name they had before Country came on the scene. Now, they all Brims. Trey Dogg stopped, but then suddenly remembered to add another important fact. Crips and Brims don't supposed to get along. But we both be getting into it with the West Coast Crips a lot. We go to school with the Brims, Salt Rock interrupted. You'll see them when school start back up, he said. A couple weeks later, I went on my first crime mission with the Crips. We plotted in Zinger's garage to hit a storage bin. Donning blue rags over our faces, about 10 of us broke inside. We got a shotgun, some electric equipment, and found a gold ring. Arriving back in the hood, everyone celebrated by drinking Old English beer and Night Train Express wine. But I was so pumped up over committing a crime that I couldn't be still. I was looking around for police while everyone else seemed to have forgotten about the crime altogether. Trey Dogg had given me a blue bandana to wear over my face that he let me keep. "Hey, Crazy," Trey Dogg asked. "What's your name again?" "It's Kurt," I proudly said. "Okay, Crazy Kurt. You can keep the rag," he said. "Hang it out your back pocket." As I began to slide the rag into my right back pocket, Salt Rock shouted, "Hang it out your left side, fool!" Everyone then laughed. Crips traditionally hang rags from the left side, while Bloods hang theirs from the right.